Welcome to Speed Kills Football. Another great guest today, Coach Gabe from Catholic of Baton Rouge. Coach Fertitta coached at the JUCO level and then high school in Alabama, and now is the head coach at Catholic of Baton Rouge, where they won state this year. And I think that makes, 3 times, Coach?
Yeah, 3. I had 1 as the OC here, and then 2 as the head coach in the last 4 years.
So 3 in the last 4 years. And today he's going to talk about weekly game planning and practice preparation. So without further ado, Coach, you can take it away.
All right, got it. All right, guys, welcome. And I'm going to save y'all all the small talk, and I'm going to jump straight into some of what I'm going to go through here on the practice stuff. I've probably got more than what I'll be able to cover in the 40 minutes, but I'm gonna jump straight to it. So one of the things that I wanted to share with you guys is about our practice, weekly practice plan. And I'm gonna start with Wednesday. Are y'all, give me the thumbs up if y'all can see my screen. Wednesday practice all season.
You good to go?
Good. Okay. Gotcha. All right. So we, in 2019, we switched to a practice plan for the week that runs like this. It goes, ooh, if y'all could mute your, everybody mute themselves, that would be good.
I got you.
We come in on Sundays with the players. They have meetings and lift and run on Sunday afternoon. On Monday and on Tuesday, we have really go get them practices. I mean, they're long practices. There's lots of contact. We never tackle guys to the ground during the season, but Monday and Tuesday are heavy practices for us. We also never practice in full pads once the season gets started. We will have a full padded practices like in what we call fall camp, kind of leading up to the very first scrimmage. And then after that, the only time our kids put knee pads on is on a Friday night. So in the past, Wednesday, it was kind of a tapered thing. So Monday and Tuesday were really long and got after it. Wednesday, it tapered into a more situational practice. Thursday was a walkthrough, very traditional way of going through practice. And we switched in 2019 to doing our walkthrough on Wednesdays. And so Wednesday is our walkthrough day, and Thursday we kind of ramp it back up, put pads back on, have some contact and practice leading into the game on Friday. So I want to start with that. I want to start with what that looks like for us. Why we switched to that, and kind of give you some of the background of that. You probably heard this no sweat Wednesday or no sweat Thursday for the college guys. And we went ahead and switched to it in 2019. We love it. I won't say I'll never do anything different because I'm always trying to, find new and better ways to do things. But as of right now, this is something we really like that we're sticking with. So, kind of going through the why first. I enjoy taking things that we've been doing the same way for forever and just coming in the off season and saying, blow the whole thing up and start over and see if we can't put something back together that's even better. So an example of that is the way that we signaled and called in plays for forever was through this certain way. And then one off season, I said, look, I think we can do this more efficient. It's not broken, but I think we can do it better. We put some really smart people in the room. We blew the whole thing up and we put it back in the pieces and the ways that we thought maybe it should go. And what came out of that was an even better and more efficient way of signaling and calling plays. So that was my intention with the practice schedule. We had been doing that, taper throughout the week and then walk through on Thursday, practice on Friday for so long that, I was ready to look into doing something different. So we did that. And this is what I told the coaches. I told the coaches that these were the parameters. I wanted it to not miss a single repetition of practice that we normally would have. So our OC and our DC went through and counted how many reps we would get on every single drill that we had in a normal week. And my initial thing I told them was, I want to not miss a single rep and eliminate an entire day of practice. My initial thought was like, hey, on Wednesday, I want them to not even come to practice. I want them to just go home. I want to see if that's possible. And the only thing I told them was that they could only go 20 or 30 minutes longer to all the other days combined. So they tried to fit it into that box. It was not possible. Okay. So that's where we came up with some of the walkthrough stuff that we do on a Wednesday. Now, I can tell you that the no sweat Wednesday, no sweat Thursday purists would tell you that the way we do this is probably wrong, but this is the way it fits for us, and how we are able to make it work. So we moved our JV games to Monday nights because it wouldn't have made any sense to have this really short day of practice on Wednesday and then wait around for forever and go play JV games on a Wednesday night. So it's been really good for the coaches because it gives you that Wednesday, you get to go home really, really early and see the kids and the wives. And so we added a little bit of time to our Thursday. This central nervous fatigue, this is not my thing. This isn't what I know in and out. We have some other coaches on staff that know this a little bit better than I do, but here's the science behind why you do this. The central nervous system is what you operate on in football most of the time. And so on Monday and Tuesday, it's a really high central nervous system fatigue type of practice style. And so what we were doing was that was high on Monday, high on Tuesday. On Wednesday, they still were having to use that central nervous system. And even to a certain extent, what we did on Thursdays, they were still sprinting and moving around and that kind of stuff. And then we were playing on Fridays, and our guys at Catholic, when you looked at it and said, when does their central nervous system ever get a rest? It was never. Okay. The science behind this is that the central nervous system needs the rest 2 days before performance. If you look at the Olympic model for track sprinters, cyclists, these high performing people, most of their rest days for when they go to have these high central nervous system performances, their rest days are 2 days before the event. The day before the event, they are sprinting a little bit to, quote, wake that central nervous system back up so that it's ready to go for competition the following day. If you think about it, if you totally shut the central nervous system off and don't use it at all on a Thursday, your kids are using that system Wednesday at practice and they finish that by 4:30 or 5 o'clock. And the central nervous system does not get woken back up until 7 p.m. on Friday. And it takes it some time to get going, right? Well, now for us, we're waking that central nervous system back up on Thursday a little bit to get it ramped up and ready to go on Friday. Talk to a ton of people about it. And the strength coaches in your areas, whatever states you're in. Tommy Moffitt was a great resource for me here in Louisiana. He's a big proponent of this, although they don't do it at LSU. Tommy has all the science and data behind it and why he really likes this kind of a model. Another guy that's really good to talk to about this is Kurt Hester at Louisiana Tech. So after a bunch of hours working on changing practice schedules, we made the jump. I'll tell you this, our kids were really resistant to it at first. They were really worried that we weren't going to be practicing enough. When we told them that that's how we were going to do it, their biggest concern was like, we've been to the state championship game 3 out of the last 4 years. We've won 2 of them. Like, why are we changing stuff now? You know? And so there was a little bit of a selling point that had to be made there. Another big concern for us was Wednesday was a big special teams day for us before this. So when do the special teams get worked? And another big concern for me was normally on Wednesday, we would film a lot of that practice and correct what needed to be corrected on Thursday in meetings. So without having that film, when do the Thursday mistakes get corrected? Because you're not going to have meetings on Friday, day of the game, and correct practice mistakes from Thursday. So those are some considerations for that. On your walkthrough day, technically, nobody is supposed to be running full speed at all. You're supposed to get full rest for the central nervous system. You need to know, if you're going to switch to this model, you need to know what types of activity are going to use the central nervous system. Like, you need to know what it looks like so that you can make sure that your guys are not taxing that system. Okay. The Thursday practice by the book, okay, says that you really shouldn't run more. A kid shouldn't run more than about 20 or 30 full speed sprints in that Thursday practice, because you obviously don't want to tire them out on that Thursday practice the day before the game. We tracked it with a couple of our kids who sprint more than others, like gunners on punts or speed sweep guys at receiver. And I just told them, hey, every time you run a full speed sprint, keep account of that. And there were some of our guys who were running 35 or so full speed sprints on a Thursday. Talk to Kurt Hester and he'll tell you, if that's what you have to do, then don't do this, because you're doing it wrong, because he's a purist. It's got to be exactly like this or it's not worth doing. And I thought that trying to put this into what works for us, this is how we were going to do it. And so we did it. One of the neat things is, if you just get through Tuesday, you're there, like mentally you're very fresh throughout the week. Because Monday and Tuesday, Monday is a grinder, like you got the JV, you got practice, you got the JV game, all of that. It's a long day. Tuesday is another long day of practice for us. But when Tuesday's over, you got the walkthrough on Wednesday. It's about 40 minutes out there. You got Thursday, which is your day before the game practice. It's highly situational, and we're out there a little longer than the book says you should be, but we're out on the field an hour and 20 minutes or so on Thursday, and then you got your game. So Wednesday night took some getting used to. I would go home on Wednesdays after that practice, and it would feel like the night before the game. Everybody asks this question: what happens if a guy gets injured on Thursday? That's certainly a question and a possibility. Knock on wood, we've not gotten anybody injured in our Thursday practices. The guys know how to practice the day before the game, even though there's some collisions that happen in that practice. This one we didn't realize this, but this was sort of like an added benefit that we didn't really account for. It allowed for better return to play for concussion protocol. So like normally if a kid needed to be off so many days, but then have those staggered full speed sprinting, then they can have some light contact and then play in a game to be cleared. That Thursday practice gives you a contact day. It's an extra day to get a kid cleared through the concussion protocol. So one of the things our trainers came and told us after we switched to this was like, man, this is great, because, say you have a kid who's going through concussion protocol, and that gives them an extra day on Wednesday to rest and work their way up to that contact practice to then be cleared to play in the game. So that's another thing that's good. Having Monday and Tuesday off for a kid who's a kid who's banged up but can practice, but still you're in that tweener mode. They can practice on Monday, they can practice on Tuesday, and then they're off on Wednesday. They don't really do anything. And then Thursday, you can just kind of trickle them in, and then they're ready. It gives them an extra day, I think, to kind of rest before they have to play. Everybody I talked to said, if you're going to do this, be all in on it. Don't change just because you lose a game. Okay. It kind of defeats the purpose. All right. So I would rather just send this to y'all if y'all want to look at it. This is the presentation I gave to the team when we switched to this. So this was my presentation on how to sell this to the team. And so this is all, can't do things the way we've always done them, all of these things. So results from it, our kids loved it in 2019. The coaches and the coaches' wives loved it because we were home super early on Wednesday. Thursday was short enough that we were home fairly early on Thursday as well. I feel like our kids played faster than they've ever played before. The kids and the coaches, I think, were a lot fresher for the games on Friday nights. In 2019, we were undefeated in the regular season. We defeated 2 eventual state champs. Look, long story short, from the results, it worked really good. This is Wednesday. This is our practice schedule on Wednesday. So we have our last class of the day, a 50-minute class, only in the fall. We don't have this in the spring, but in the fall, we have our last 50-minute day of the day classes, our football PE. So we have meetings up until the end of school. At 2:45, we're on the field doing every special teams player that touches the ball will get special teams work on our Wednesday walkthrough. So that means returners will field punts, snappers will snap, holders will hold, kickers and punters will kick. Okay. That's in that place is where some of the purists would tell you that we're wrong in the way that we do this, because a punt returner, they're going to come out there and stretch and get kind of warmed up a little bit. And they're going to sprint and go catch a punt if they have to. We believe in catching every single punt that gets kicked, and they may sprint to go get one of those. And this is all from an offensive perspective, but we do a red zone pass game walkthrough. So the special teams goes 20 minutes. While that's going on, our O-line, this is the O-line coach, he gets some individual, and so does our H's coach, tight ends coach. Okay. And then we do a blitz pickup segment with the tailbacks and the O-linemen. And we do our goal line short yardage on this day. We had to move that to our Wednesday walkthrough day. And then we do a run polish segment. It's 15 minutes. The guys are holding hand shields. There's no helmets. The guys are not in cleats. Nobody's wearing cleats except for maybe the returners and the kickers. But we go through the run polish with the guys holding hand shields. And it's kind of like a full speed through the first 2 steps into the hand shields, and then they work off to where they're going. And then that's it. So you notice we're on the field for, about 45 to 50 minutes for the walkthrough, and then we send them home. That's what our Wednesday practice looks like. What I want to do is if y'all have any questions that you want, if you'll type them into the, I don't see the chat. If you'll type them into the chat, I can maybe come back to them at the end and answer any. Oh, here's the chat. If you want to ask a question, type it in the chat, and I'll catch up with you. Okay. There you go. Type questions here. Okay. So let's go back to the start of the week. Okay. Because I want to try to take you through a whole week. I know that's kind of what we had talked about in the clinic, but I wanted to make sure that we covered Wednesday and some of the reasons why we do Wednesday the way that we do. Okay, so I'll take you back to Saturday, which kind of is the start of our week as coaches. Weekly outline, we never practice in full pads. I told you that. We don't tackle to the ground. We got roughly 100 players, give or take, on the 10th through 12th grade. We have a JV and a varsity. Those guys practice together and use the same staff for that. So Saturdays, everybody's off. The coaches all work from home. The kids don't come in or anything like that. This is the kind of the brief outline of that. Sunday, our coaches come in after church, whatever time that is. Usually it's around noon or so. The kids come in from 2 to 4:45. And then the coaches stay when the kids leave to finish up game planning and getting things ready for Monday's practice. Okay. Monday, we have meetings with the kids during that 8th hour, last class of the day. That's mostly install for the week. It's a pretty long practice. It's in shells. We play our JV game. We leave like coaches when practice is over. We come in, we pick our stuff up, we hang out, talk with the kids maybe a little bit, but we are out of here. We don't stay and meet. We don't watch the film together. You know, if practice ends at 5:30 and a coach wants to be in his truck at 5:35, there's no problem with that. We are out the door. Okay. So Tuesday, we split that last class of the day, and some of it we lift. And then when the lift is over, we do meetings. So our varsity players lift on Sunday and Tuesday. Then we have another long practice. Wednesday, I just went through that. Thursday, we have meetings. Our JV lifts on Thursday. We put shells back on. We kind of ramp it up to game speed. There's contact, no tackling. That practice lasts about an hour and 20 minutes. All right, Saturday. So the coaching duties for Saturday, each coach kind of begins their own individual area for the game plan of the next opponent. We should already have 2 of the games broken down by that point. We try to break those games down earlier in the week, the week before we're playing that opponent. The coaches will finalize tagging their opponent film from the game that the opponent played Friday night. And then coaches will make notes to present to the coordinator on Sunday before the kids arrive to the school for the lifting and all that. Also on Saturday, it's kind of a organic thing, but we'll call and text each other over the phone on Saturday, kind of going through some ideas and, things that we're thinking about and kind of just passing ideas back and forth Saturday. By Saturday night, all of the game film from the previous game that we played should have the notes on it. It should be graded, and it should be sent back out to the players for them to see. The OC on Saturday will start making the playlists of all the situations and formations and plays that we're going to make. These are some examples of those playlists. So the OC will cut up a playlist and make all defensive plays, right? Including last year's game of us playing them, if that's available. He'll make playlists of all the personnel that's similar to ours. So 10 personnel, 11 personnel, whatever the case may be. Any formations that they've played against that are similar to our formations, he'll have all those playlists cut up. Then he'll do it by types of plays, all the zone runs against them, all the 4 verticals, all the screens, all the boots, things like that. He'll have a third down playlist cut up. He'll have a goal line short yardage, a red zone cut up, and then miscellaneous. We may have a blitz cut up, a certain coverage that they play, a certain front that they play. That's sort of a mixer. Explosive plays is one we started doing, like what types of plays have been explosive against their defense. He'll go through and make playlists of all of those, which if you're familiar with how to work through Huddle, if all the other coaches have done their job in tagging these games by Saturday night at say 9:00, the OC at 9:00 on Saturday night can go in and make 1 million of these playlists in 20 minutes because all he's got to do is filter them, save the playlist, and then share it out to everybody. So that's what's going on Saturday. Sunday, the coaches are coming in after church. The coordinators are going to share all the playlist cut-ups. The position coaches and the coordinators start to formulate the game plan. The coordinator, the OC, should have about 1/3 of that game plan complete on arrival on Sunday. We start with the run game. I'm not going to go into like super depth of how we game plan because I think getting through the practice schedules and the game plan, we won't have enough time for that. But we start our thought process in the coordinating of a game plan with the run game on offense. And then we start seeing what passing game we have marries up to that. At 2:00, the players arrive. When the players get on campus, all the game planning shuts down because the most important thing is those players. So we're all hands on deck with the players when they arrive at 2:00. When they get there, we have a full team meeting. at 2:00. And I give out a couple of post-game awards. We're not real big on awards and helmet stickers and stuff like that, but we have a couple of little things that we'll do. I give like a really quick recap of Friday night, maybe a minute, 2 minutes, tell them I'm proud of them, tell them, we got a lot of room to get better, give them specifics as to what that is. And then I'll preview the next opponent just by telling them, what to expect. If there's anything special about the week, different schedules, something that's different or something to be looking into, in terms of times and that kind of stuff. And then my meeting is over and it's maybe a 5-minute meeting with the team, 10 minutes maximum. While I'm doing that, the position coaches are going through and check and roll to make sure everybody's there. And then they go lift. So we have an in-season lift and while guys are doing a tempo run. It's not a sprint run. It's usually either like a sled pull or it's like a half gasser type of run that they're doing out on the field. And then we swap them. Our in-season lifting on Sunday is very low CNS, so no Olympic lifts like snatch, power clean, and all that on Sunday. We do all that stuff on Tuesday. The Sunday lift is what I call the meat-headed lift. It's the back squats, the front squats, the deadlifts, those gross motor movement lifts. And usually they're very few repetitions and really high in weight. So they might just do like a 3 sets of 3 back squat, but they may go up to 80 to 85% on back squat. And then after that's over, we have special teams meetings, 15 minutes or so. If the OCDC want to meet with their whole groups, for a minute to share anything, they do that. Then they go to individual meetings. One of the things we found is that a lot of the stuff that we normally were covering in meetings from the game last Friday night, we don't cover near as much of that anymore because we've covered so much of it at the game with the sideline replay. So we haven't needed as much time to correct stuff from the game on Sundays as we used to. So playlist expectations for the coaches, like when I go into all these meetings that are happening, the individual meetings, I don't want to see a coach just flipping through the game play by play. They should have the playlist cut out and made of exactly what they want to show for that meeting. So for the quarterbacks coach, I don't want him showing every single play from the game on Friday night. I want him to cut out these 15 or 20 plays that have something similar. Maybe these are things he did really well in the passing game. Cut out these 10 plays where his footwork in the run game needed to be better or made the wrong read or whatever. But there should be a definitive playlist for every single position group in every meeting, not just the Sunday meeting. So that, like for practice, when we're watching practice film, I don't want to see the position coach just go through every single rep and click through and have to click 28 times to get to the next thing and looking for where's inside drill. The stuff should already be made into a playlist, which does not take long. Roughly 2/3 of the game film that we watch in these meetings on Sunday will be from the game Friday night. About 1/3 will be for the upcoming opponent. That changes. Our defense tends to watch way more of the upcoming opponent than they do of the previous game. Then we go outside with the offense. We do a little short walkthrough to kind of introduce some stuff from the game plan. We send them on their way. And at 5 o'clock, the coaches stay to finish the game plan. That might be an hour. That might be an hour and a half. We might be walking out of here at 7 o'clock on Sunday. It just kind of depends on how far we've gotten and what kind of game plan we got going on Sunday. I see on here I got about 9 minutes left. So I can send this presentation to anybody who wants it, and I'll show you all my email address before we get out of here. I want to look at, this is a Monday practice schedule for us. So I just want to go through this with you. Hopefully in the next 9 minutes, I can get through a Monday, a Tuesday, and a Thursday practice plan. So these PPs, this is pre-practice. This is our QB coach. So I'm going to go through this with the QB and then with the O-line to give you an idea. They come out, they do QC exchange. Every one of these periods is 5 minutes. They do QC exchange. They have a little bit of individual time. They do a little walkthrough with the skill guys. They go through a mesh period with the tailbacks. They do a routes on air segment, tailbacks, quarterbacks, receivers. Then we all come together for a team takeoff period where it's plays on air. Most of this is our one-word calls. And then some of this can change. This is not all etched in stone. Like this particular week, they did a walkthrough with the wide receivers. This might be something different each week. The main thing that you need to know is from pre-practice 1 at 3:10 until 3:55, the coordinators have free reign to break this time up however they want. Group segments, individual segments, whatever it is. Okay. And then at 4 o'clock, so by period 8, we're into inside drill and one-on-ones. So QBs will be at one-on-ones, throwing one-on-one routes against DBs, and there'll be some QBs over at inside drill, doing that. So we do 10 minutes of inside drill for the defense. We do 10 minutes for the offense. We feel like we should be able to get 12 plays in 10 minutes with it being carded and scripted and all of that. And then we do a perimeter drill, which I have film of this, but I don't think I'm going to have enough time to get to it. But perimeter drill is like a full contact, but don't tackle to the ground drill we do against the defense, where it's just the receivers, tailbacks, quarterbacks, and the 7-on-7 type guys for the defense. And it's half line, so to speak. And it's 4 things. It started with 4 things. We kind of progress later in the season, but you could have a 3x1. It's all 3x1. Now screen, bubble screen to 3, now screen to 1, bubble and go to 3, and then the shot, bubble and go to 1, or now and go to 1. So it gives us a lot of work on perimeter blocking, and then it's also a time we can work our screen and goes. That's how we do it day 1. We progress a little bit more and add some variety to it there. But that is a fantastic drill for blocking and getting off blocks on the perimeter. They have a 15-minute special teams segment. And then this break is really not 10 minutes. But let me tell you one thing we've started doing is on these 2 long practices, we have gummy bears and Powerade. And we have an athletic trainer, but we have no managers or anything like that. And this really isn't all that expensive, but they have about 5 minutes in there where between special teams drills, they come grab us a little pack of Welch's, fruit snacks. They can grab 2 packs of that, and they get a small cup of Gatorade. It gives them a little sugar bump in the middle of practice. And we found that this has been really, really effective for us in terms of our energy level, finishing out practice. And then we go into skill, 10 minutes for the O, 10 minutes for the D. We do a 5-minute skill of good versus good. So I guess I'm good on time here. We do a 5-minute skill where it's good versus good. So it's our offense versus our defense, and no matter the scheme for the week, and it's just the best we got versus the best we got. Okay. So we do a little 5-minute segment of that, and then we go to team, and team is about 25 minutes. That is, we'll have the first 6 plays of team will be run with the scout defense as our best defensive guys, 1s versus 1s. It's our first team defense, and they're running the scout cards for our first team offense. And then we'll switch it, and the first team offense is running the scout cards against the first team defense for that week. So we get 6 plays on O and on D with the absolute best players on the field as the look team, and then we split it to go into where we have scout groups. So that's our Monday. Tuesday is very, very, very similar. Okay. This is notes on all the different segments that you saw on there. Okay. And I can send all that to you, like perimeter drill. There's tons of notes there. But I'm going to go to, we have a Monday playoff practice where we start to taper how long we're out there. We cut out a few things, and I've got on here what all gets cut. For example, we don't do perimeter drill when we get to the playoffs. It's a high contact type of thing. So yeah, I absolutely can show perimeter drill. I've got the clips right here. Let me pull that up for y'all. Let's see. All right, so now you should be looking at my my huddle here. All right, so I have 2 clips of perimeter drill to show you. So we do this, if it's a 10-minute period, we do 5 minutes on the right middle, and then we do 5 minutes on the left middle, okay? And when we do this, we'll run, it's not scripted, it's like call it as fast as you can. We're just signaling it. Guys are just rotating in. I mean, every skill player on our team will get reps in perimeter drill. But we also go to 2x2 into the boundary. We'll get like 3 or so reps of 2x2 into the boundary before we move over to the other hash. So here's perimeter drill. These are all the defensive guys waiting to feed in. Okay. You can see our safety here, linebacker in the box, outside linebacker corner. Your defensive coordinator, when they do this drill, they have to police the players going through the right steps and progression. So like if you notice here, this inside linebacker, when the ball is snapped, he's still taking his read before he takes off. There's other defensive calls that he'll work where if the back is adding, all right, based on what the defensive call is, if he's supposed to be part of the run fit for that, then he's got to go run fit. He can't go out here and go pursue this thing out here, you know? So your defensive guys have to make this a realistic drill. Okay. So all this is the now screen to 1. Okay. And blocking by 2 and 3. And it's live, full contact, but we don't tackle anybody to the ground. Okay. All this blocking that's happening right here is they're getting after it. Okay. And these guys, if they have kill shots on the guy, you'll see them like tag off on them. Okay. But that's 1 rep. All right. And then I thought I had another rep, but that kind of gives you a look at the outline. And then we'll go, you know, all right, we'll screen him, and then, you know, like we're blocking there, he's up the seam, and then he's running the screen and go. You know, everybody's got their screen and go stuff. So that's what perimeter drill looks like for us. I hope that kind of answers that that question. All right. So I'm gonna hit Tuesday and Thursday's practice plans, and then leave a little time for any questions anybody might have. All right. So here's Tuesday. Tuesday is essentially Monday made over, except we don't start as early because if you remember on Tuesday, the guys have to lift and have their meeting on Tuesday. So here it is, pre-practice with exchanges and individual, a walkthrough. We do a perimeter versus scout period that I really like. That's good. We do a full offensive screen segment there. They have special teams. And then this from here to the end is very much like Monday. It's inside drill, special teams, the gummy bear break, scale team. And then this was an adjustment. We normally would do 2-minute on Thursday in our old practice, and we couldn't find anywhere to put it in there in the practice schedule with the new Wednesday walkthrough thing. So on Tuesday, the last thing we do is our 2-minute drill. That could be on air. That could be against the defense. It just depends on what everybody wants for the week. Okay. So that's Tuesday. We've already been through Wednesday, and now let me show you Thursday, because Thursday is kind of unique because of what we do on Wednesday. So this is the day before the game. We got pads on, helmet, shoulder pads, the whole deal. And there's contact. So They have meetings before this, school ends, exchanges, individual. They do a route polish segment with the quarterbacks and receivers and H's. So like every route that's in the game plan, they'll have thrown it left and right one time on Thursday. And you want these guys sprinting, like you want them revving that central nervous system up. So when they do this, they're at full speed. Red zone scale we do against, I take that back. We run 6 red zone scale plays for our offense against a carded look by the number 1 defense. And then the other 6 plays, our number 1, maybe some 2s mixed in there, offense will give the look for the defense, but that's where we get our red zone scale in. We do a special teams fundamental period. It's like a merry-go-round. They rotate through a bunch of special teams fundamentals, the guys that are involved in that. And then we start what's kind of like what most people were already doing on Thursday, this script of kickoff, then the defense comes out, then we do punt return, punt, we do the offense runs their openers, then the kick return goes out, then the D goes out, and the D has little segments and so we go into that script, very, very situational script where you might run 6 plays for the offense out there before they come off the field. And that script usually takes us about 45 minutes to get through. And we had to add this little section down here, this 10-minute situation. We found that when we were trying to make these schedules, there was a lot of situations we worked every Thursday that really didn't need to be worked every Thursday. So we could get out of there and not be on the field for a marathon on Thursday because of the Wednesday walkthrough. So for instance, victory, we used to do victory every single Thursday. And it's really not necessary. I mean, how many times are you even in victory throughout a season? Is it really necessary to work that every single Thursday? No. So what we did was we made a list of all the situations and all the little minute things that we absolutely do need to prepare our kids for. And we go through the season, and in this segment, we'll make sure to check off some of those things, whether it's overtime, whether it's punt, kickoff after a safety, intentional safety, whatever the situations are, they get worked in that little segment right there. And that's our Thursday. Okay. And then Friday, our game day routine. So that 8th hour class period, the guys come in and they take a nap. And I love that. They come in, they lay down in the locker room and they nap. We have a prayer service when school ends. They get dressed in tape. They go to meetings, individual meetings, group meetings for walkthroughs. We go through the opening script for the offense and all of that. They have a special team meeting for about 5 minutes. I address the team very briefly, and then we're out the door. And that is the skeleton version, I guess, of exactly how our week goes for the coaches and for the players. I've got a ton of stuff on this presentation that you can look through on your own with notes and different things like that. And then if you have questions right now, you can type them in the chat. But also, I want to put my email up here. If you email me, I can send you this. There's so much stuff on here. I have a note like how we draw cards, which I think is really important. I have a bunch of practice habit notes on here. For example, never spot the ball on a 5-yard line at practice, like putting it on the 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, because your kids get used to, if they got to run a 10-yard route, that's easy. I just run 2 lines. But in a game, the ball might be on the 17.5-yard line. Like, how do they know how to run 10 yards and judge yard lines and all that? So one of our practice habit things is never at any point ever, if you come out to Catholic and watch us practice, there will never be a ball spotted on the yard line, So I've got little things like that all through here. Here's my email address. It's Fertitta. So G and my last name at catholichigh.org. And then you can also reach out to me on Twitter. That's my Twitter handle right there. And I've got a little bit of time, and I know you said we had some extended time. I've got some time. I got about 10 minutes before I got to go get the girls from school and pick them up. And so be glad to hang around if anybody has questions.
Coach, how many full team reps do y'all do per week?
All right, excellent. So we get that. I'm going to unshare my screen here. We get that 6 and 6 in the first. So my theory is that if we're showing a card and we're scripting it out and we got all this going on,
y'all show that. So defense. So when you're doing team O, say the defense has a card also.
Correct. So what I'm saying is my theory is 6 plays every 5 minutes. So if you have a 10-minute window and you're showing cards for a scout team, you should be able to run 12 plays in 10 minutes. So that's where the 6 and 6 happens. So well, let's say, boom, the whistle blows, we're going to team, and it's early in the season, okay? The first offense is going to have cards drawn by the defensive guys, and I'm going to be in there in the huddle with the first O going, hey, blah, 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 you know? And they're going to run those plays for 6 plays. And usually it's like the plays that the D coordinator absolutely has to see the best look on. And then flip it. The first D stays out there. The D coaches are out there holding the card up, and we're running 6 plays on offense that we absolutely need to see versus these looks. And then we split. All right. And then again, it's still the same thing. So if it's a 20-minute team period, we should be able to run 24 plays. So like just go by that, you know, number essentially, you know what I mean? If it's a 20-minute team period, you ought to have run 24 plays.
We're similar to that, but we can't separate just because numbers wise. So
yeah, and when I was at St. Stanislaus, when I was at St. Stanislaus, we couldn't do that either. You know,
what we try to do is we do 6 offense with the best of the rest, the first 6,
right? And
we do this, then we switch. We go 6 defense, with the best we have available offensively.
Right. I will say this too, like the Wednesday walkthrough thing, if I was still at St. Stanislaus, where we had a few 2-way players, we had some guys that played 2 ways, but we didn't play them all both ways, which I'm not a big fan of unless you're talking about a roster of 20 guys or fewer or something. But
you got 30.
Yeah, well, that's close. That's close. I don't think I would do the Wednesday walkthrough in that scenario because you just need all the reps you can get. At that point, reps become almost more important than rest does. And there's some people that would kill me for saying that. But when I was at Stanislaus, we did a Monday was the offensive emphasis. And so in all the drills, like inside drill and all that, we got all the best players on offense and the defense had the best of the rest. On Tuesday, it was flipped. Wednesday was half and half, right? And then Thursday was the day we did like the walkthrough, kick the field, all of that. Yeah. Anybody else have questions? If y'all will email me, I will send you the PowerPoints that I've got for all of our practice schedule stuff. And then if you got some specific questions, just shoot me an email and I'll send you my cell number, and I'd be glad to share anything that you guys want to talk about.
Does anybody else have any questions for Coach?
Oh, wait, hold up.
Perimeter timer.
Oh, like a segment timer? Yeah. So we don't use a segment timer. We have our scoreboard. We have our scoreboard out there, and it's got the actual time, 3:25, 3:30. We don't have a single manager. When I tell you we don't have a manager, we don't have one person who helps run practice other than the kids. So I have found with the segment timer that somebody's always having to fool with the dang thing and reset it and all this. So that clock is up there, and all of the periods on the practice schedule, period 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you noticed down the side, it said what time those periods were going to be. And if something happens and we get off schedule or I want to redo a period, then I'll just tell the whole coaching staff out there, hey, back everything by 5 minutes. So period, 17 is going to start at 4:30 instead of 4:25.
Similar. I'm similar.
Yeah. It's too much to mess with. Yeah. It's too much to mess with for me. And, in my mind, the fewer moving parts you have, the less things can break.
Sure. Thanks.
Anybody else? Awesome. Well, if y'all have any questions that come up or you want the PowerPoints, shoot me an email. I'll be glad to send them to you guys. And I'm telling you, like we have a lot of people come through and visit and talk with our staff and stuff like that. If anybody wants to come hang out and talk and learn more or kick some ideas around or whatever, just let me know.
Looking into getting some more of the quick screen, bubble screen game this year, Coach. That's something that I'm really been researching in the off season because we're a wing T team. We're going to do a few different things this year that we did not do the past season, and one of the main things is going to be the quick screen game. So I might reach out to you on some of that. And Coach is also going to be joining us on March 7th with Coach Valdez from St. James and the offensive coordinator, Coach McLaughlin from Ash, to talk a little gun run Q&A roundtable, just open discussion type form. Is that right, Coach?
Yes, sir. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate it. Y'all shoot me an email. Let me know if you need anything, and be happy to share anything we got.
Appreciate you coming on, Coach, and I'll be in touch.
Absolutely. All right, guys.
Have a good one.
All right, bye.